Hello, 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 hello. Welcome back to another episode of the Hold That Show. And we're live. No, we're not. It's recorded. But I am your host, Abdalaini. I'm a Chelsea fan. And yeah, for first weekend in a while, both our teams won. Um, a lot of the big teams won. The traditional big six all got 3 points. But we'll talk about a couple of those games and our own. But first things first, let my co-host introduce himself.
Yeah, man. Obviously, it's your boy Luke here, supporting Liverpool, the Reds. Grab the 3 points at home. Let's get another 3 points again because Man City is on the horizon. We're going to be facing them soon, so we need to accumulate those 3 points like checkers, like rent is due. Accumulate them 3 points, and then yeah, we got Man City, and then that is obviously going to be the title decider. But yeah, let's get straight into it, man. It's a good weekend. I don't need to get onto my boy no more. Chelsea got them 3 points. I don't need to get onto man. So it's gonna be a good positive vibes type of pod. So I'm looking forward to that.
Not completely positive, because we got to talk real. When it came to my team, the first half was absolutely terrible. Um, Palace, a team without Eze, without Elise, without their main centre back Guehi, and we were struggling in that first half, passing sideways, backwards, sideways, very slow, and they scored a banger. Now, obviously, there was a foul on Casado leading up to that banger, but VAR don't do their job anyway, so who cares? First half, we go down 1-0 to an absolute screamer from Palace. And the one thing I would say that Poch did, which he hasn't done in a while, is he made changes at half time. He changed it, and which changed the game and changed the way we played. The second thing that changed the game was the Thiago Silva injury that allowed us to play a lot quicker. Because I think with him in the first half, especially, Casado had to hold his hand, be a third centre back because he couldn't handle the pace of the game. Now, it is what it is. These Brazilians, when they get to a certain age, they start to slow down, and Thiago Silva has son. So I feel like we need to phase him out of the team, have him on the bench, not starting games of this magnitude because I just don't think he has it anymore in him. Let him go off into the sunset. La vida loca to Brazil in the summer. But I would say this: Gallo Dog did good. He got the 2 goals. The first one was a lovely finish. Second was nice as well. And I think that's what I want from Gallagher. If you're gonna play the 10 and you can't create, at least score goals. Because then at least then I can't complain. If you're scoring goals, if you're crashing the box like Lampard used to and getting goals, then that's fine by me. Goals or assists is what I need from my 10. But I do feel like we lack something with him being in the 10, and Cole Palmer in the false 9 does not work. The changes made it to put Cole Palmer on the right, allowed him to be more creative. Then Jackson up top, Newton Kunku down the left, and I think we were more fluid. And it took a long while for us to break down Crystal Palace because they didn't want to play. They were defending for their lives. I think Roy Hodgson has is past it. I think you can see from minute one their fans are protesting. This is the second time I've seen them protest. I think they've been protesting week in and week out. But like any chance they can get to protest on TV, they're doing it, and they're doing it the right way. Their ownership is terrible. The decisions they've made with their team has been bad, and the injuries are down to Roy Hodgson playing players while injured as well. So you're bringing guy back, forcing them on to play silly minutes when you're losing games, and then you come against Chelsea away from home or at home. No Elise, no Eze, and no Guehi because you're just overplaying these players. And then yeah, it was good to see Enzo get a final goal for the third. Lovely finish from him as well to chip it over the right back. Man made him touch the floor twice and just past the keeper. Cole Palmer got 2 assists. I had him on my fantasy team, so I'm happy about that. Hold that, Luke. Yeah. More points this week. Yeah. Even with the negatives. Yeah, you shake your head. But overall I would say this. Good win, but we needed it because we're coming up to a hard list of fixtures. We've got the likes of Man City, we've got Liverpool at the cup, we've got Arsenal coming up. I don't see us winning a game anytime soon, so we needed these 3 points. It was a confidence booster, but we'll see. City look purring. They demolished the team in the Champions League in Copenhagen, and yeah, it's a long day. Even with injury, even with City accumulating a couple injuries, I don't care. It's gonna be a long weekend. I've already got the lube ready, and yeah, we're gonna get pammed on the weekend. It's not gonna be nice. It's gonna be probably be on certain sites by by Monday. So free viewing on those sites. But yeah, good win, good win. Nothing much more I can say. I just um yeah, I got nothing more to say about that game. It was just a very boring game, very dry. One team wanted to play, one team just wanted to defend for their lives, and yeah, we just had to break them down in the end. We won the Man United way this season. Didn't really play well, didn't do our best, but we got the goals in the last minute to win the game. We did a Man United win. We got the 3 points, and that's all that we needed. But Luke, do you have anything to add on to that?
Yeah, man. Yeah, yeah. You guys played well in it. You guys played well in the second half. Um, obviously, you guys should have thrashed Crystal Palace because you know their form is similar to the team that we're gonna discuss later in the sense of Arsenal versus West Ham. You know, they're not playing well. Players are out injured. The team is devoid of confidence. It doesn't help where the atmosphere is toxic. It's only toxic just because of the passionate fans wanting more, wanting to progress. They're in a position right now on a table where they could potentially see themselves in a relegation battle. And who would have thought that with a club like Crystal Palace? Crystal Palace is probably my second club. I wouldn't associate the first club as my home club because they're racist as fuck. So Crystal Palace for me would be my second club that I would support. So to see them in a position that they're in is sad, especially with the ballers that they've got. They should be in a position where they should at least be in 10th at least. We haven't seen any progression in the transfer market. The owners aren't spending as much as they should, given the position that Crystal Palace have been finishing year in year out. They should have generated a decent amount of money to finance the managers in there. And I just think for me, they made the wrong decision in getting rid of Patrick Vieira. I think when the going got tough, I think they panicked and got rid of him when they shouldn't have. They brought in Roy Hodgson, which is fine, fair enough. He understands the club. When you bring in someone like a Roy Hodgson, it means that you want someone that knows the club to stabilize, to galvanize everybody because he understands. But I just think for me, he was probably the wrong person to bring in because he should just retire. And you can clearly see this season that he looks tired. He looks tired. He looks like he's run out of ideas. He looks like he doesn't know what he's doing. He's out of his depth. And I think with this appointment could be the end of Palace um, if they don't find some form very quickly. Um, and as I said, it would be a shame. So for Chelsea to go into this game, they should have won this game because there wouldn't be no real reason for them not to, given the factors that I've just stated. So, they played very well. Conor Gallagher, he stepped up and he performed. I still believe he's not good enough just because he got those goals. Fair play. That is what you're supposed to do when you are in that position. But for me, he hasn't shown that enough to justify him staying in the team or him staying at that club. You still need to get rid of him. Personally, it would make more sense to have Cole Palmer in that number 10 position because that is his natural role. Yes, he's doing well at the right wing and he's finding pockets of space, but I need my actual natural number 10 in Palmer to be in his position, not Conor Gallagher, who's a centre mid. He's not a 10. So for me, you guys obviously performed, but if you put out that same team against Man City, it's going to be a long day in the office. At the end of the day, you need your players who are on form to play in their natural positions to get the best out of them. You need the Nkuku in a false nine position because he can play centre forward. He's done that at RB Leipzig. He can play in a 10 if he needs to. Cole Palmer, put him in a 10. Conor Gallagher in a seat in a centre mid alongside Enzo Fernandez if necessary, or Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez. You pick, you decide. Madueke on the right, Mudryk on the left. That is a team that I want to be seeing going into Man City. You know, push them. Because at the end of the day, I always say this every single time. Man City is there to be taken, to be beat. We've seen it in every single match. Every single match, if a team puts pressure on them, they crumble. They don't know what to do. Don't matter that Kevin De Bruyne is back. It does not matter. If you press Man City, they do not know what to do. So that is the POA for Chelsea. Don't sit back. Don't defend. Obviously, you need to defend, but don't defend and be pragmatic. Attack them. Get in their face. You did that in the last game, and it finished 4-4. They did not know what to do that game. So do the exact same thing again. When you do face them, get in their faces, harass them, press their nyash, get on them. And if you do that, then you'll probably get a draw again, or maybe come away with a win. But if you sit back and just give the ball to City, they will damage you. They'll destroy you. And with how you guys' midfield is set up as it is already, I wouldn't even trust your midfield to sit back and try and defend anyway. So attack is the best form of defense, and that's what I would say for your team. So yeah, congratulations on the 3 points. It was good. Again, you guys need to be accumulating those 3 points because Chelsea shouldn't be in the position that they're in anyway. So it's no fault of the managers, but yeah, you got your 3 points. Well done to that. Try and maintain that. Get those players playing in their natural position and attack Man City come this weekend because I reckon you guys can actually get something from that game. I'm gonna be real. I reckon you guys can. It's not even a factor of I want you to. I just know that you can because we've seen it from Man City week in week out, year in year out. They have weaknesses, and there's only certain teams that have been brave enough to attack those weaknesses to get a draw or to get a win. So yeah, you guys need to do the exact same thing, man. Don't be scared. I don't need Pochettino to be scared, playing people out of position, saying, "Oh, let's sit back, let's do this." I don't want to be seeing that. I want if it was me and I was a Chelsea fan, I want my team to go out and attack. I want my team to go out and perform. I don't need none of that scaredy rubbish. You're not in a position in the table where you need to be sitting back. Every point, every 1 point, every 3 points matters. So I need my team to attack. So yeah, that's what you lot need to do in it. But yeah, good 3 points for you lot.
Yeah, definitely. I do not believe we'll get anything against City, but you all you can do is hope. All you can do is hope.
Mm.
But speaking of City, they're number one rivals. Another great win, another good game. Liverpool. Now I'm gonna let you start on the game. Tell me what you thought about the game, what you thought about your team, how you played, and the overall performance.
I think we played well. Um, I think the chances was there. I think the problem, it's not even a problem because it's a good thing. The fact that we create the amount of chances that we do, the only problem is the fact that we're not always clinical. So because of that, we're always giving opportunities for our opponents to try and sneak one in or get a goal or build that momentum because they're gonna see it as, you know what, Liverpool's not on it, they're not finishing, they're not killing us. All right, cool. Eventually they're gonna be like, fuck, like why always me? Why am I not finishing? And then that confidence is just slowly but surely gonna be declining, which means that the opponent's gonna be increasing their confidence and they're gonna be pushing, 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 and eventually they'll get their goal, which is obviously what they did. But for me, it's very convenient that as soon as Trent got subbed off, we looked so much better. I'm hearing that he was injured or he picked up an injury. That's fine. But for me, I said this in the last game and I'll say this again. Trent should not be at right back. He shouldn't be playing now. I think the fact that we've performed so well without him when he was injured goes to show that we've probably passed him now. We've outgrown him in that position. And I think the blessing in disguise has been him being injured, bringing Connor Bradley in, who can actually defend, who's a similar mold to Andrew Robertson, who can attack and defend. And he has that athleticism to go up and down with his work rate. The fact that we've had that and Trent not being there has obviously offered a new dimension to our team in order for us to play well without the fear of having that right back area being so open. It's very funny that the last two games that Trent has played, he's looked well off it in terms of fitness. In terms of the pace, he his attacking attributes that he's been known for, we haven't been utilizing that aspect to his game in the last two games. When he has been on the pitch, I feel like defensively, we all know that defensively he's sometime-ish, but the last two games it feels like defending is something that he does not want to do anymore. And it's clear and obvious in those last two games. But when he came off, defensively we looked so much better. We looked like we were able to handle certain counter-attacking opportunities. Our midfield looked more on point. Endo again performed, um, and our attack was on point as well. He played the players in the right positions where they should have played, um, which um, which was good to see. And it's going to be very interesting to see where Trent goes from here now, whether he can finally get put in midfield or if they're still going to persist with him at right back. I don't know what we're going to do, but I just think right now we don't need him there now. And that game against Burnley was clear as day that we don't need him there. I think for me, if I was the manager, I personally wouldn't put him as an eight, just because as an eight, you're expected to still defend. And I feel like unless you're playing a double pivot, it doesn't warrant him being there because it just means that while he's bombing forward and his partner's bombing forward, it's just going to leave Endo by himself. You're going to need one of the CMs to sit back and help Endo. So depending on who's there, there's going to be a serious imbalance in that midfield. So personally, I probably would move him further forward into a 10. He's got the technical ability to control games in that position, and he's got the passing range to unlock defenders in that position. I know it's not a position that we tend to play and will play, but it's just a food for thought that maybe we should move him in there because normally with a number 10 position, they're not really expected to defend. Their attributes is always just to create opportunities, and that's something that he can do. As an 8, you have to be able to defend and attack. And I just think he's in such a position where I don't know what we're gonna do with him. Now, obviously Klopp has a specific type of way in playing, so he will obviously play, but I think moving forward with a new manager coming, it will be interesting to see what they do with Trent. Whether they see him as a midfielder and have him play a double pivot role with someone to help alleviate that defensive burden of him not being able to defend properly. Because I don't want to see him at right back anymore. I've had enough. When I watched that Burnley game, yes, we performed well, we dominated. The chances that we had was fantastic. I'm glad that we were clinical. Darwin Nunes with a fantastic header at a very difficult angle. You know, Diego Jota again been on point. Luis Diaz again on point. So I'm happy to see everyone doing well, but for me, it's just him, and he is at a crossroads, and I just don't know what we do with him. Um, but yeah, that's all I gotta say really. We obviously we got a game this weekend, and hopefully we perform in that game. As I said, Man City is around the corner, so you know, hopefully we perform well. And that is another thing as well with me closing. Man City's around the corner. Trent played against Arsenal and he got torn to shreds because he came back before he was supposed to be ready. Now there's gonna be a lot of weeks before we do play Man City, but does it mean that he plays against Man City? And if he does, he's gonna get torn to shreds again. So yeah, man. I don't know what we do with him. Because ultimately we've got midfielders that can do what he can do. So as I said, it was a blessing in disguise that Conor Bradley's come through, but it's also a curse for Trent because now, as I said, he's in a position where we don't know what to do with him. Logic is put him in midfield, but then you've got Slobosly and McAllister that's balling out in midfield. So you're not going to drop one player that's in form for someone that's out of form. So yeah, for me, I just feel like Trent needs to work his way back in the team personally. His name alone shouldn't mean that he's the first name on the team sheet. That's not how things run around here, and he needs to work his way into the team, in my opinion. But yeah, good win for us. Feel sorry for Burnley because I like Burnley. In a sense of the football that they play. If they do get relegated, I've already seen a couple players that I want in my team. Trafford, one of them would be a good understudy to Allison, and a guy called Oderbert. I think he's such a live wire. Their left winger. I think he's such a baller. But yeah, man, Vincent Company just keep riding out. And if you do get relegated, I'm sure there's gonna be a team like Crystal Palace that's gonna look at you. So yeah, man, that's all I gotta say.
Yeah, yeah. Good win for Liverpool. Against Burnley. I think in terms of Trafford, I think he did make a mistake for the first goal with Jota. If your keeper, if you're coming out on a corner, you gotta catch it, and he didn't. He flailed around, so that's something he's got to learn. He's very young. Um, then Burnley came back, and I think the first half with a header, and I think it was first half was two set piece goals. I think both teams defensively on those set pieces were poor. Obviously, the second half Liverpool were controlled. Diaz with a nice finish. I gotta say, my loney Dietro Fofana, he had a couple chances before it turned to 3-1. I think on another day he may have taken one of those chances, especially the second one. It just whizzed past the post. So I feel like it's I feel like his showing at Burnley shows that he is ready to play Premier League level. I think he's been a great signing for them so far. He's got a couple goals and assists. But yeah, and then Nunes does what he does best, finishes the hard chances up before, but every easy chance he's hitting posts, kicking it over the bar, hitting Rose Ed, uh, hitting people in their face and all that. But the hard, difficult header, yeah, he gets that in. This guy, I don't get this guy. Nunes, he's a one of a kind. I'll be honest, he's a one of a kind baller. I would say this. I think Liverpool didn't play at their 100% best, but at this stage of the season, it's all just about the wins. Doesn't really matter how you play towards the March April part of the season. It's just win the game. 1-0, 2-0, 3-0. It's all 3 points. The only thing that will probably be the issue is goal difference, and I think that might be a difference maker as well. Because if you look at City, Liverpool, Arsenal, their goal differences are very similar in terms of how many goals they've scored and conceded. So that is a thing. In terms of the Trent point, it's funny. We used to argue Reece James and Trent at right back, and now they're both bummy. One's not here, and the other one came back from injury, and he's got his chain snatched by Conor Bradley by a young G. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with Trent. He is very good friends with Jude, so Hala Madrid may be calling if he doesn't feel like he's getting the right respect at Liverpool. Obviously, he's homegrown talent, and he might not want to go like that, but you never know. If Real Madrid come calling, everyone moves. But in terms of Trent so far, I just think he just needs to get his fitness back. I just think you don't push him to come back into the squad. He's not needed at the moment. You're still winning games, and when he does come back to full fitness, I think he can slot in any position really, and will be a bonus to your club because no matter how bad defensively he is at right back, offensively he is a game changer. Whether it comes to a corner, a free kick, one pass, one moment, and that's how you win leagues. It's moments, players. Conor Bradley is a good, you know, run of your mill. He'll give you a 7 out of 10. But that one game Trent gives you a 10 is that one game that could win you the league. So he's a guy that you just got to fit in no matter what. So it'll be up to Klopp. Klopp's a great manager. He'll decide where to put him in, even if it leads to an imbalance in the midfield or even changing to have a 10. It'll be interesting to see what he does. But yeah, good win. And speaking of another great win, we go to a club that after the back of beating Liverpool 3-1, doing up cheeky snaps, Jimmy Carragher fuming. Oh, you shouldn't be doing it after the game. Go back in. The team that likes to over celebrate. What I like to call them is the January Cup winners because they win the league in January, but in May they're nowhere to be found. But I gotta put some respect on their name. Arsenal Football Club, demolished, destroyed, humiliated, sexed up, lathered, rinsed, and repeated on West Ham for 90 minutes. That shouldn't have been on TV. I'll be honest with you. I shouldn't have been on TV. It should have been X-rated. Only over 18s should have been watching that because, oh my god, that was men against boys. That was like Vince's locker room right there. That kind of setting right there. If you know, you know.
Whoa, 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 whoa! We can't be talking about that, fam.
Allegedly.
Behave there, fam. Behave there. Big problem. Big problem.
But yeah, Moyes' job is looking like he's gonna be gone soon. But their fans leaving at half time to get the pie and mash to get the early train home. Like the scenes at half time being 4-0 down of your fans walking out the stadium like that. Disgraceful. I understand it. I mean, last weekend, obviously Valentine's Day was coming up, so they had to go Westfield and get some gifts, so they didn't want to watch that. They might have to get some gifts for them, you know. They were like, "Where's Sam? Fuck this shit. Go get me Mrs. a gift." That's what they seem to be on. But yeah, just let's go into the game. Let me fully go into it. First goal was a set piece play, and the one thing is the first and third goal for Arsenal were set pieces, and this is the one thing that I have to congratulate them on. They're the highest set piece goal scorers. Defensively on set pieces, they're solid as well, and their defenders chipping in can add in terms of what they can do in terms of going forward in terms of being a part of the title race. Second goal was a penalty. Saka dived. No, I'm joking.
Oh, Right.
It was a soft penalty, but he did what he needed to do. He got the penalty and he scored it. Lovely slotted in. So and then the fourth. Who was the fourth again? They scored so many.
Um,
Was it
that's a
Saka?
good one, you
Was it
know.
Saka
I
again?
think it. I think it was Saka again, you know.
Oh, it was the one where he shimmied it and then
Yeah.
let lengthed it in. Yeah, yeah. That second goal for Saka was brilliant. I think he got the confidence from the first penalty, and then in the second half it was just easy stuff. The Arsenal fans wanting more, West Ham fans leaving the door. So I mean, second half we didn't really have to talk about that. The game was over at half time, and honestly, I think when it came to the team, West Ham were doing things dirty. They were doing things real dirty. In terms of like their left back, well, no, their right back was playing left wing. They were ultra defensive. They thought they could get away with it, but because they were so defensively poor on the set pieces, that means they had to open up a little bit, and it just allowed for Arsenal just to decimate them. You can't concede two set piece goals in the same game. That's down to the coaching. You can't be that defensively set up at home. That's down to the coaching. And the fact that your fans in the tens of thousands left the stadium is an indictment of what David Moyes did in that game, and should be looked at as a manager that should move on in the summer, because West Ham have too many good players to be playing like this.
Hmm. Hmm.
We talked about this before. They have Danny Ings on the bench. He's a quality striker that could start up top, but Moyes is just too defensive for his own good. And yeah, I think it was a problem. And yeah, that's all I can really say. Arsenal just dominated, a dominant performance, a nice, good. We talked about it against Liverpool that they needed to continue this momentum, and they did with the West Ham result. But they have to continue on and on and on. In order to beat Man City to a title, you need to win 10 in a row. So, great win. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it was Pornhub settings, really and truly. I don't want to discredit Arsenal's win because it was a good win, but let's be real, West Ham haven't been on form for a hot minute now. They've been catching L's for a while, so if you can't go to their home ground after a win against Liverpool and not beat them, then it just goes to show you that your win against us was a fluke. The fact that you did go there and beat them is great, and it's a great result. But I think fans need to not get gassed, um, because they haven't been on form. It's exactly what I said about Palace against Chelsea. Palace haven't been on form for a while. They've been catching L's. So Chelsea needed to go to Selhurst Park and slap them. They needed to. And it's just exactly as that at West Ham. You can't be at home playing Jared Bowen in a false nine position when he's not a striker. It doesn't make any sense. You could have put him at left wing, because who's this Johnson brother? This Johnson brother is actually a fullback, but you're playing him in left wing when Jared Bowen can play there. You got Danny Ings on the bench, who's still one of the best finishers in the game, but he's on the bench. Like, why? When you can play a striker there, Jared Bowen on the left, and then you could be cooking. But you didn't. You went ultra defensive. You got your striker on the bench. You got Jared Bowen in a false nine who don't know how to play there. So you sort of writ him out the game, which means that you essentially have 10 men. When I watched the whole game, nobody was willing to press. The only person that was trying to put up a fight was Alvarez, but he got subbed in the second half. No one was willing to put a tackle in. No one was willing to press together as a team. It was all a bunch of individuals. Defensively, they were all over the place. It was just too easy for Arsenal to open them up. How can you play two CDMs, but the DMs were non-existent and you can pass through them like a cherry drop? It don't make sense. So yeah, Arsenal did do well. Yes, the set piece goals was fantastic. Yes, the interchanging of the players was brilliant. The connection was there. The ball retention was there. It was brilliant football. But West Ham played into their hands. West Ham wasn't on point. They weren't on form. May I remind you that West Ham have beaten Arsenal twice this season. Twice this season. Once in a cup and once at the Emirates. Twice this season. But yet we're all getting gas because Arsenal slapped them 6-0. But you still got beat twice by the same individual. And one was in a cup where you should be on a cup run trying to win a cup. Because if you don't win anything, then question marks should be directed at Arteta. At what are we doing? He spent 2 seasons spending 200 million. So, as I said, yes, they did well. And I'm not even trying to hate or discredit them. But they ain't been on form. So you had to slap them. You had to. West Ham's West Ham played into their hands. It's as simple as that. So listen, we'll see the true Arsenal credentials when they're coming up against teams that are on form. Like Liverpool. Liverpool was on form. We didn't play the right players that game, but they did well. They smoked us at the end of the day. So there, I don't need to discredit that win because we were on form. So that was a decent win. You've now gone to um, West Ham's ground on a team that is not performing. As I said, you needed to win, and you got the dub. So the next team that you're playing against, if they are on form, then we'll see whether or not if you're about it. You still got Man City to come up against anyway. So we'll see if you're about it. But for now, yeah, fair dues. You got your 2 wins. You got your back-to-back wins. Fantastic. Hooray. Let's move on to the next one. But don't get gassed just because you slapped a team 6-0 and they're not on form. Like, come on now. I want to be getting gassed over that. Like, that should have been an easy win anyway. Let's move on to the next game, man. If you do the exact same thing against a team that's on form, that's bodying you, that's pound for pound matching you, and you slap them 4-0, then I'll be like, alright, cool. Arsenal's here. They're title challengers. But you're only doing this against a team that's wounded right now. Like, let's be real. And David Moyes is potentially going to get sacked at the end of this season because of results like this. Because they haven't been on form. Because they're catching L's. Because he's not making the right decisions in terms of playing the right players in their positions. So, so yeah, that's all I gotta say. Fantastic win, but let's relax, man.
Yeah, fantastic win. And another fantastic win against a team that seems to be up there. This was a big win for the game that we're talking about. This was a game that was the difference between being in a top four race or not for the club we are talking about next, and that's Manchester United. The team they beat, Aston Villa. Now, this shows how much of a swing it could have been. If they lost the game, would have been more points away from Villa. They would have probably been 11 points away. But now they're in touching distance. One second, there's some feedback on your side. Can you turn the volume down on? All right. Yeah. Better. That's better. Cause I can hear myself twice. I was thinking, what? I was thinking, I, I barely want to hear myself once. Just joking. Anyway, let's move on. Back to Villa United. And the swing of the pendulum in terms of this is Villa came off a bad defeat in the FA Cup to Chelsea. United needed to win this game because, as I said, if they had lost, top four would be unobtainable for them. Even top five would have been obtainable for them. But they're still in within a shout. And this is another game where it could have gone either way, but they come out with a scummy 2-1. And there's a couple plays that I want to look at that they should be looking at and praising. Onana, he had a great game today for once. or the other day. For once, he made the saves when needed to. He made crucial saves against Watkins. I also would like to say McTominay is a player that should be praised more. His goals alone has given Man United 12 points. Without his goals, Man United would be 12, where they rightfully belong. Yeah, that's right. Haters. But they're up there because of this man. McSauce, McMayo, McChicken, all of the above. I would say this. I think they were deserved of the win. I mean, Villa did have chances, as I said, and Onana was on form. But United played well, and I think Villa are coming to the point where Unai Emery does his best impression of bottling. And I think Villa are probably gonna more focus on the Conference League as a competition that they want to win, because he's more of a cup manager in terms of he wants to win the kind of European trophy, and I think that's something that can get him into Europa League next season. And Unai Emery is a pretty big expert when it comes to Europa League. He's won about 3 or 4 of them. But for this game in particular, I think Villa got it wrong in terms of they didn't take their chances. It kept was 1-1. I would say this Hoyland's been on form as well. He's another player that we have to look out for. 5 and 5. He's looking like that he's coming into his own and is starting to mature in this season and with this team. But I think Man United still need to keep this momentum up. I do not know if they're going to continue this kind of winning formula, because game after game of winning last minute winner here and there is good and all, but you can't maintain it for the rest of the season. They need to start playing better. Ten Hag needs to start putting out better squads, and they can't be relying on this last ditch effort every time, because it does get tiring. And being a United fan must be a hard watch, because you're watching your team playing terrible to good football ish, and you never know whether you're gonna lose or win in the last minute. But big win against Villa away. It's the first time they won against a top 10 team away from home, I'm pretty sure, this season. In terms of top 7, top 8 team. So I think it's a good kind of thing in the right direction for the team and for United. And it shows that the players, at least some of them, are playing for the manager and wanting to win the game, especially McMayo coming on, being that impact sub, the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer way. And yeah, I think they just have to carry on this momentum. I don't see I don't see them getting top 4, but fifth is definitely a possibility for them, especially considering that fifth is very likely to be a Champions League spot for England in terms of the Premier League as well. So I feel like City and Arsenal are gonna go far in the Champions League, maybe make it to the next round in probably, semi-finals kind of minimum for both those clubs, because Europe isn't at at the stage where you look at a lot of teams in Europe. They're terrible. Bayern terrible. Madrid are getting injuries left, right, and center. So English clubs have a chance to do something big. And if I'm pretty sure if 2 Italian clubs don't make it to the next round, I'm pretty sure it's not Napoli or someone like that, then we guaranteed fifth place. So Man United have potential to get that fifth spot, to get that Champions League spot through that. And I think that will be a good season for them, because with Radcliffe and them man coming in, it gives them a platform to say, okay, we're in Champions League next season. If we don't want Ten Hag as our manager for next season, we can let him go and bring someone in with money, with resources, and with the 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 template of at least Champions League football available. And the way Sancho is playing, that's big money coming in as well. You can sell him off to a club that wants him for big money, or bring him back, because he probably will outlast Ten Hag. But what do you think of the game, Luke? And what do you think of United?
Yeah, I think this goes back to what I said about the Arsenal West Ham game, in a sense where a team like Aston Villa have been out of form, but their home form has actually been decent this season. and they went toe to toe with Manchester United. And on a different day, the chances that they did have could have gone in. If they were playing against Onana, who's been terrible this season, then they probably would have won the game. But for some reason, he probably came out the hyperbolic time chamber. He was juiced up and he was ready to go in that game, and he was on point. Fair enough. Like, he was making fantastic saves. He kept his team in it. 1v1s, he was on point as well, which normally he ain't good at. So I don't know what happened that game, but he was on point. Fair play. And the fact that they didn't take their chances, again, as I said before, you know, if you don't take your chances, then that just gives your opponents confidence that they can still stay in the game and potentially nick one. And that's exactly what they did. You know, both teams played well. You know, Manchester United played well. The football that they were playing was actually decent. We saw a little bit of short passing retention, short passing attacking football. And Aston Villa, when they had their counter attacking opportunities, they were there as well. So it was a great watch, to be honest. I enjoyed watching that game. Fantastic goal for Hoyland. Um, it's clear to see that he's starting to he's being he's getting the responsibility of his teammates. They're trusting him now and they're passing him the ball, which is good to see. And yeah, McTominay again stepping up and delivering with his goal. I've always said that he's an underrated midfielder for Manchester United and that he should technically be playing alongside Kobe Mainu. Um, I think those two as a midfield partnership would work. You got a box-to-box midfielder in McTominay, and then you got a ball carrier in Kobe Mainu, and you've seen the technical ability of Kobe Mainu in that goal for McTominay, the footwork, allowing Dalot to whip in a beautiful ball for McTominay to cross in. You know, that's what you want from your ball-playing midfielders. So I personally would have that midfield along with Bruno Fernandes ahead of them. But again, obviously, Ten Hag has got his own ideas in terms of the midfield partnerships that he wants. But I think moving forward, that's probably the best trio midfield that you want in your midfield. You know, you got the passing ability of Bruno Fernandes attempting to unlock for his front three to go on and deliver. You know, you as I said, you got the tenacity of McTominay, and then you got the deep line playmaker of Kobe Mainu. So you know that works in my opinion, and it did work because they were able to get the winner. But yeah, as Margie rightfully said, you know, it's all for a well that like you perform well or you don't perform well and you get the last minute winners, but sometimes that can only take you so far. I remember Liverpool this season was going through phases of always scoring in the 90th minute, and then it got to the point where we got our comeuppance and we ended up losing. Um, so you know, there's only a matter of time before United's luck it comes to an end. They've obviously got Man City very soon, as I said early on in March, so they need to try and secure victories within that 90th minute, because if they don't, City will punish them. And the thing is about United is they're so jammy, like they always go on small luck. So they'll always win a game, like 4 or 5 game win streak, and then they always come up against a team that just slaps them, and then they go back on another run again. Maybe that might be against Man City, or maybe they will beat Man City. You just never know what you're gonna get. They're so unpredictable, but they just need to keep on riding that momentum. I need United to beat Man City for obvious reasons at the top of the table. But yeah, if United keep going on where they are, then obviously they're going to finish in the top four or even fifth. And you know, we wouldn't have associated those positions with Manchester United. To be fair, with all the other teams that's in and around them, we probably wouldn't have put United in that position. I guaranteed me and Margie predicted them to be outside of those positions. So for them to still be in the mix, you know, it's a testament to you know the belief that they have, but slyly underratedly it's going unnoticed that all the pressure that's been on Ten Hag, which is rightfully so, but clearly he's doing something right because they're always there for some reason. It's like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, when he was manager there, they were always there, you know. So look, we'll see what happens from now to the end of the season. It's been rumored that they're trying to go after Dean Ashton, who is the director of football for Newcastle. So it'll be interesting to see what they're doing. They're obviously making moves behind the scene, which is good. So they're preparing for next season, which is fantastic. So the Ineos group obviously means business. But yeah, they just got to ride out the few weeks leading to the end of the season and then go again. It's my understanding that I've seen written in rumors that they're gonna take the responsibility away from Eric Ten Hag in terms of the transfer windows, which is fantastic because clearly he doesn't know what he's doing, and hopefully we'll see better ballers coming through the door for Manchester United, and maybe it's the start of them getting people out and bringing better players in. So yeah, man, keep riding that wave. Try finish in Europe if you can, because you need Europe to cement your status in accumulating those funds, but also bringing in world-class ballers into your team as well. So yeah, man, keep doing what you're doing. Fantastic game. Obviously, Aston Villa was always going to drop out anyway, just because they don't have the squad depth for it. But the fact that they were up there just goes to show you that if they do have the squad and if they do trust Unai Emery with the funds, then evidently they will be up there again. So yeah, man, obviously they took the L this time, but they're not gonna be at the bottom half of the table. They're still gonna cause problems. They got a decent squad. It was a fantastic game for them to go toe to toe with Manchester United anyway. So yeah, man, that's all I got to say. Great win and move on to the weekend.
Yeah, man, we're getting to the business end. Games coming thick and fast. Champions League back. Uh, Big wins for Madrid and Man City yesterday. More games today as well. So yeah, European football's coming back in order. So it's going to be interesting to see how the English teams, cope through it. I'm needing all the English teams to go as high as possible. We need that fifth place, baby. And yeah, another great show, another great weekend of football. And you know what? I just got to take the little bit of happiness that I got from that win on Monday, because Man City is going to be a long day. It's going to be a long day. But this was the Hold That show. And no big team had to hold that this weekend. But hold that Villa, though. That last minute
and
kick sauce.
and hold that Roy Hodgson as well.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And hold that David Moyes. All these British managers, these old British
These
managers.
Brexit bums, fam. That's what they are, Brexit bums. Get them out. Get them out the Premier League, fam.
Brexit bums. Yep, that's what they are. But it's been Abdalayini. Been a great show. Luke Adonis, you got anything else to say?
Nope. Peace out.
Yeah, and that's been us. Hold that show. This is Forcible, and we out. Peace.